Okay.
(1960s).
The president was John F. Kennedy.
Martin Luther King was shot and killed.
Mom began watching The Guiding Light.
And believe it or not, gas prices were at 31 cents a gallon.
According to legend, our parents met on a boat trip to Spain.
Because Amy won 4 free tickets to Spain and felt sorry for Dad, so she put all of you on a boat to Spain so Dad could eat. And that turned into a wedding engagement.
And then us. They were married in Tobago 50 years ago today.
And then moved on to Canada, where, as we hear it, Dad's ears froze forward.
They started off with a child. She was perfect in every way.
And then child number 2, not so much. Dad, from babysitter to work to hospital to babysitter and back home for 2 months before he was even born.
It was in the dead of winter. There was 3 feet of snow. It was 58 degrees below zero, and yet he persevered.
And then out he came, born into the world, crying for 2 months. And they're still married. The 1970s.
Presidents? Nixon, Ford, and then Carter.
And Mom, Greenpeace was founded.
Gas price, Dad, was 79 cents.
And I think he used to stop, oh no, that's too early. He used to go to all the cheap places for gas, but 79 cents was good for Dad.
Somehow they survived. Me, in particular, cartoons all day long, all Saturdays.
And also survived Dad as a permanent student and Mom working to pay the bills and take care of us.
Somebody got kicked out of kindergarten. Hard to do.
And Dad was the math instructor for me, who was mathematically challenged.
And then we all moved to Ohio, where we had all sorts of calamities occur, including a tornado that forced us into the basement, broke glass due to the force, and kept us down in the basement where it flooded.
And then we decided Ohio wasn't for us, so we moved back to California to settle in Fresno, following the recommendation of some of your good friends, Janet and John Fazio.
It was around that time that Chris decided that he was clearly adopted and decided he was going to run away from home.
And also you had to survive me and all my slumber parties and playing murder in the dark. And they were still married. The 1980s.
President Reagan now in office. The good news about President Reagan, it's the reason why Mom became an activist.
And don't forget, the first space shuttle took off.
This was all amidst the background noise of Gilligan's Island and the Brady Bunch reruns.
And that's the way they became the Brady Bunch. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'm moving on. Gas prices. Dad, sorry, they're up $1 for the first time ever.
And that was about the time they purchased their fancy luxury car, a gold Lexus.
And Dad, you opened up your practice all the way over on Fresno Street with Al Velasco as your partner and Mom as your office manager.
It was in the decade of the 80s that the cookie competition began.
And you can't forget all my boyfriends from Edison to Bullard.
And surprisingly, our parents let me go to Europe with no supervision, no cell phones, no way to communicate for months at a time.
And you'll also remember during the 80s, we got a new family member. Monica joined us from Italy.
And
Da
we did
da da da.
Do-do,
Do
do-do,
do. Da 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 da. Do do. Do do.
It was in the 80s that Chris actually left home to go to the United World College.
And at the end of the 80s, that's when I met my hubby, Todd. We got hitched. All the wedding arrangements, all the dollars needed, and don't forget the homemade dance floor with all that red duct tape.
During those years, first-born grandchild appears. Didn't eat, didn't sleep, and cried all the time.
And
they're
still married. The 1990s.
Gas prices continue to climb, much to the chagrin of our dad, now at $1.50 a gallon.
And there was the Gulf War, but apartheid ended.
The great movie Out of Africa came, which somehow our dad survived.
And we all loved The Cosby Show.
During the 1990s, they moved to their current residence on Mountain View Drive in Madera.
And the electronic age began, the World Wide Web, and all those personal computers.
Surprisingly, at that point, the Lexus still in great shape.
And if you don't forget this one, Mom's Christmas letter began.
2 more grandchildren arrived in the 90s.
And then this one got married, families reunited, and the caravan of purple vans descended on Lake Tahoe.
Their 4th grandchild arrived.
And finally, in the 90s, Dad moved his practice a couple more times, ending up at his final office near St. Agnes. And they're still married. The 2000s.
Who could forget? Clinton and Monica Lewinsky.
And also, on the political front, Bush steals the election from Al Gore.
Sadly, gas prices keep climbing from $2 to $3 a gallon.
And then the economy crashes.
And then my dad's feelings crashed after the movie The English Patient came out.
And the Lexus, don't forget the Lexus, a little out of date, but still kicking.
Mom retires and begins her second career, saving the world.
And Dad follows soon after in Mom's footsteps, starts back into the piano and becoming a professional sports fan.
Grandchildren, heavy into sports. Grandparents balancing their time between baseball, soccer, basketball, football, and dance studio.
And they're still married. 2010.
Gas prices reach an all-time high of $5 a gallon.
And we're so sad that the Lexus broke down, but there's hope. A new engine was installed, and it is still running strong.
Communication improves between the two. Dad gets a flip phone.
And one of their favorite sitcoms, Modern Family, where we all sit down together as a modern family. And 50 years later, they're still married. We love you guys.
That was pretty good. We're done.